Out of I.S.U.P.K Atlanta, started out of 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General Yahanna. Tonight is the biblical law class. We have our biblical law class every Wednesday here and throughout the I.S.U.P.K school. Give you our itinerary. Monday is the biblical history class. Tuesday is the brotherhood class. Wednesday, which is tonight, law class. Thursday is our scripture breakdown class, which is the mandatory class. If you are here in Atlanta and you an officer, it is mandatory that you be here. On Friday, there's our Lashwan Kodash, Hebrews 101. That's our ancient language, taught in Assyrian and in Paleo. On Saturday, from 11 to 12, is our Sabbath class. After that, we go to camp, and we come back here, have our brotherhood, we eat together, after we war together, and that's what we do. And if you want to come out and be with us, I suggest that you be here at the school and get ready to go to war. With that being said, tonight's topic is how Atlanta became the black gay Mecca. Once again, tonight's topic is how Atlanta became the black gay Mecca. The reason why I want to discuss this and why we're going to talk about Atlanta tonight is there's a song that just recently came out by an Atlanta native, Slakia, by the name of Amaretta the Great, if I'm pronouncing that properly. And the song the name of it is called Sorry Not Sorry. And it went viral. And the song went viral because, the song went viral because she was basically calling out people who aren't actually from Atlanta. They're claiming Atlanta, they're false claiming Atlanta, but they're not actually from Atlanta. And one of the things that I'm going to discuss tonight is why. What is the draw? What is the reason why someone would want to false claim Atlanta? What is it that you're actually claiming when you're saying, I love Atlanta? What is it that you're actually claiming when you're acting as though Atlanta is the place to be? Understanding that people love to claim their, I guess you can say their heritage, or not their heritage, but they love to claim where they're from. Not just Atlanta, but if people are from Chicago, from Memphis, from any place, New York, what have you, they love to claim it. And the thing about it is, what are you actually claiming? Because you don't own any property, you don't own any land, you're actually a slave here where you are, but you love to claim where you're from as though you own something, as though you run something. But what I want to know is, what is it that you're doing for your people by claiming, since the topic is Atlanta, what is it that you're doing for your people by claiming Atlanta? What's hot about Atlanta? Now, when I say that, of course, we understand that Atlanta has a lot of nicknames. And with those nicknames, I think you have Hot Atlanta, the A, Black Hollywood, Chocolate City, the Black Mecca, and of course, the Black Gay Mecca. But with that being said, I'm gonna let you all hear just a little bit of this song of what Amaretta did, and it's going viral. And we're gonna discuss what it is that you're really promoting, what it is that you're really saying when you say, I'm from the A, when you say it's all about Atlanta, when you're repping your city. We're gonna see if that's the same thing you feel when this class is over with. Give me just 1 second. I'm gonna let you hear a song, and you tell me what you think. Just one moment.
Well, for some filters on that song, huh?
Indeed, she did.
Is that gonna be copyright?
Salaki, sir?
Is it gonna be like copyright when you play that?
Oh, so this is just being played as her music, sir. There won't be any issues. if you're tuned in right now. I'm gonna let you check this out here for just a second here, and then we're gonna go into a couple things.
A soldier.
Beat right in this bitch. This shire, not shire. I wasn't gonna say nothing, but it's on me heavy. I promise it's getting ridiculous after this drop. Do not jump to no conclusions. I don't need these folks in my mentions. Going too solid, gon' keep it a brick. I ain't going back and forth, cause I said what I said. Don't play in the air, cause I feel it's my place. I gotta jump on a couple folk head. Y'all come to the city, get a feel for this out. And I wanna go home, I know you love what it taste like. But it ain't too far, we had to live up in these trenches. Y'all went back to the birds when they got up on them late nights. Look, we really ran through these streets. We ain't never get a break. So we speaking on Atlanta, I don't play right. But I'ma get right to the subject, ain't gon' get around the bush. Chance to this, you say you from the A, right? Where's I know you from? What hood did you live? What hospital bed were you born? Look, I know it sound crazy, but I'm a A baby. I gotta start pulling for court. We had to live in this zoo where you don't make it out, so I don't give a fuck what they say. Look, if you niggas ain't grow up in APS system, you bitches is not from the A. And you from Gwinnett, nigga, up that penetrated step back. Talking about you from the outskirts, could've killed that.
I'm gonna stop it right there. I just want to give you all a taste of the song and what she's doing here. And I may go back to it here briefly, but what she's doing here, she's telling you that if you weren't brought up in the APS system, if you want to know what bed were you born, basically if you aren't a Grady baby, that you aren't from the A. So what she's doing is, she's taking pride in her city, she's taking pride in where she's from. But as the song continues, you'll hear her break things down about a lot of people don't make it out of where I'm from. We in this place called a zoo. And paraphrasing what she's talking about, letting you know that they have to go through them trenches while everyone else is going to the suburbs. So basically saying, there's people who come to Atlanta and they got a taste of it and then they went back out. The thing of what I want us to understand is that we have been programmed to move in a certain type of way through our music a lot of times by glorifying poverty, by glorifying death, by glorifying certain things that have happened that aren't good, by glorifying the plight of blacks and Hispanics through our music. And once you've done that, what I've noticed over time, when I talk to people who claim, the city where they're from, and they're proud of it, they tend to oftentimes not want to leave from there. They stay. That bondage in their mind makes them stay where they are. Of course, me being from Chicago, that's nothing to brag on. That just happened to be where I was born. But it's known for, what is it called? Chirac. A bunch of different names for just the murder that they do out there. Senseless killings. When you go to certain areas like Memphis, the same thing is there. It's like they're trying to get a name for themselves, so they claim it. They claim where they're from. There's an area in Chicago called O Block. I'm sure many people know it. There's a lot of famous rappers from there, and some of them have passed. Well, they've died, we'll put it like that, murdered. So when you're claiming where you're from, you're also claiming what's happening there. So when I look at Atlanta, and I think about this song and what she's trying to say here, when she's telling you from Clayton County, that's not Atlanta. When you from, where is it? Decatur, that's not Atlanta. Or she's saying that's not Atlanta. That's how she's saying it. And I find it humorous because you aren't representing anything when you say you're from here. She has a song out. She'll get some likes. She'll get some views. She'll get some radio play. But other than that, what are we doing about the plight of our people? What is that doing for, if you will, native Atlanteans? So when I look at it, and I think about the lyrics, I think about what she's saying, I think about how she's telling people, you aren't really from Atlanta, so why are you claiming here? Think about what Atlanta is known for. Now, off the top of your head, when I say what Atlanta is known for, many of you will think to yourself, Matter of fact, I'll ask you, sis. When someone mentions what Atlanta is known for, what is one of the things that you heard them say?
Definitely about the, capital of where the gay, so that's where the gay people
Right.
are.
Right. Hearing that Atlanta is like this gay capital. So that's what it's known for. Now they call it Black Hollywood because they do a lot of movies here. A lot of people come here for their chance to make it. So we'll look at someone like Tyler Perry, who himself he's a black billionaire who lives here in Atlanta. So you have to ask yourself, well, what has Tyler Perry done for his people? Well, I can tell you what he's done for the LGBT community. He has homes that they can live in. Those who've been kicked out of their house, those who don't get to express themselves freely, and who've been abused, there's homes that he has built on one of his properties that they can go to, that they can live in. That is not for people who are in poverty. So I'm going to break down a couple things to you when it comes to what you're claiming here in Atlanta. We're going to look at the poverty rate. When you're saying that that's not Atlanta, but you want to claim Atlanta, think about this. The poverty rate in Atlanta is 22.4%. 1 out of every 4.5 residents of Atlanta live in poverty. 1 out of every 4.5. That means that more than likely we know someone that's homeless, we've seen someone that's homeless, or we've talked to someone that's homeless. Or I wouldn't even say homeless. Matter of fact, I'll just say in poverty. That doesn't mean that you're necessarily homeless. That means that you are struggling to make ends meet. It's not even check to check. You don't even know how you're going to eat. You're living in conditions that humans shouldn't live in. You're struggling to make it. And that is the plight of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Sticking to Atlanta, looking at the rate of 22.4, in poverty, think about the fact that they call Atlanta Black Hollywood. You have all these black millionaires. And one of the articles that I was reading, it was talking about how in Atlanta, the blacks know how to deal with whites better. And I'm not sure where they get that from. I don't know if it's because they've made a couple dollars, and because they made a couple dollars, they think that they're free. But they don't understand that the money that they've made, their oppressor allowed them to make it. And then they forget who they are. The scripture says, basically, when you break down what's being done, that a gift destroyeth the heart. So what happens is, when you have someone that's black that makes it, he forgets who he is. He forgets where he came from. He had a couple dollars in his pocket, he's made it. Now, with Amaretta, I guess what she's going to do when she makes her couple bucks, she's going to stay right here in Atlanta. Or is she? Because the video was filmed in Cobb County. It wasn't filmed in Atlanta. So I want you to understand that when you're claiming Atlanta, it's nothing to glorify. There's nothing special about this place. I want to tell you what you need to claim. What you need to claim is the truth. What you need to claim is the law, statutes, and commandments. What you need to claim is your heritage. What you need to claim is brotherhood. That's what you need to be claiming. Anything outside of that is garbage. But I'm going to continue when it comes to this poverty. 1 out of every 4.5 residents of Atlanta live in poverty. Of the 435,586 residents in Atlanta, 97,629 of them reported incomes that were below poverty level. That's almost 100,000 people that reported incomes below poverty. That's not including the homeless. But this is Black Hollywood. Everyone comes to the A so that they can make it. If you're black, you can come to the A and you can do anything. Yet our people are still struggling. Our people are still poor. You have black billionaires that live in Atlanta, but look at the condition of our people. But you want to claim the A. I'm from the A. Well, I'll go ahead and tell you. When someone asks where I'm from now, of course I live in Henry County. It's about 30 miles south of Atlanta. There's sometimes when I'll say, yeah, I'm from Atlanta. And then I think about it. When I say that, I'll add Henry County to it to give them reference, and I'll say 30 miles south of Atlanta. Because to be honest with you, the stigma that's attached, and it's well deserved, to Atlanta about the homosexuality, It's worse than what I thought it was. I see videos on maybe TikTok or Instagram or Facebook. A lot of times there are black women who are talking about how basically don't mess with the men in Atlanta. Go ahead, up. Absolutely. How about you? What's going on?
What you feel about it is so heavy, you know what I'm saying? You talk about Black Hollywood, you know what I'm saying, and how we not supposed to, claim this place, you know what I'm saying? If I may, it brought me to a precept in the book of in the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 31. It says, "Envy not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways." Black Hollywood is the Caucasian Hollywood. Caucasian Hollywood is homeless people filled with all type of fornication, and the homeless population is through the roof. Drug addiction and abuse is at unprecedented levels in that community of Caucasian oppressors. And for us to claim and take on that spirit or that mantra of being Hollywood and calling it Black Hollywood, you basically call that spirit of all abominations to Atlanta, you know what I'm saying? Wow.
You're absolutely right, and that's actually a scripture that I was definitely going to get to, because that's what we've done. We have joined to our oppressor. We follow his ways. We love what it is that he does because we think that what he does is living, not understanding that we're dying. We don't know what it is to live because we aren't following the law, statutes, and commandments. As a matter of fact, give me Baruch 4:1. I'm going to have to bring that out in every single law class, because for those that aren't following the law, you are dead already. Give me Baruch 4:1, Baba Shah.
Got to read it.
I have somebody on the phone. If you could, Yahweh die. Shalaki, Yahweh die there?
I'm trying to pull it up.
Okay, for what?
You said Baruch 4:1?
Con.
So like y'all want to say, this is the book of Baruch, chapter 4, verse 1. This is the book of the commandments of God. He that keep them will come to life, and they that leave it shall die.
That's right. He that keep them shall come to life, and they that leave it shall die. And if you look around Atlanta, you see the Valley of Dry Bones. You see our people dying because they aren't following the law, statutes, and commandments. They don't know what it is. That is why you see us out there every Saturday trying to teach our people, trying to let them know that this isn't the way. Especially when it comes to these men that are homosexuals that we see every single Saturday walking up and down, coming from the bus station, coming from the train station in Atlanta.
Right.
So let's look at it even deeper. When we're talking about how we're claiming A, let's see what else you're actually claiming. The HIV rate of cases has long been compared to that of a third world country. That's from an article that I've read. It's been compared to a third world country. But now the CDC admits that it's officially an epidemic. It says here that your risk is 1 in every 51 people of getting HIV. That means in your week, in 2 or 3 days, or in your week, especially if you have a slavery, you bumped into someone with HIV or AIDS. You've talked to someone, you've dealt with someone.
So say that number again? Shalak.
1 in 51. 1 in
Atlanta?
Come. Right here in Atlanta. 1 in 51. So it's telling you that the CDC said it's an epidemic. And what is an epidemic? A widespread occurrence of an infectious disease in a community at a particular time. Well, the particular time is all the time in Atlanta. While everyone is worried about the coronavirus or COVID, whatever it is that you call it, HIV is ravaging blacks here in Atlanta, and black men and black women. in large part due to homosexuality. Now I want you to think about that, because before we go deeper into the topic, this is the things that you're claiming when you're talking about Atlanta. Now people may think to themselves, no, that's not what I'm talking about. No, on a wide scale, no one knows about Cascades. No one knows about underground Atlanta. When you're talking about these things, no one's talking about that when they're talking about Atlanta. They're talking about, okay, they'll say Black Hollywood, but what is Hollywood associated with? We know that it's associated with, is your Howie Dog was bringing out, the same thing that they do in Hollywood with the homosexuality and the pedophilia, that's what it's associated with. Atlanta is associated with an abomination because of the fornication, the sexual acts that these men operate in and the women operate in. That's what it's known for. So let's look at the AIDS amongst. Go ahead, Op.
It's so different that you bring that up. You know what I'm saying? Why you sit there talking about it? It came to my mind that in ancient times the witches used to use Hollywood to holly, the wood, as a tree.
Mm-hmm.
They would use the branches of the tree to make their magic wand, so to speak. And the chemicals that are in that branch, in that tree, are used to put people to sleep. If you're in a place where there are a lot of holly trees, you're prone to go to sleep because it has those chemicals in it to put you to sleep. And that's what Hollywood is, it puts you to sleep. And Atlanta is asleep in every form of the word.
Absolutely. Excellent right there. Excellent. That's exactly what it is. We are definitely in our slumber. Our eyes are open, but we are seeing nothing. So when I look at this and thinking about what you just said, and thinking about going back to the rate of HIV, it says here, in a statistic that I've read, it says 43% of black men who have sex with men have HIV, AIDS, is what it's saying. So if you understand that, it says that's almost half of the gay black population of men in Atlanta. 43% of gay black men have HIV. Think about that for a second. What you're claiming in Atlanta, what you're claiming Atlanta to be so great, this Black Hollywood, the place where you can go and you can make it, the men are destroyed. 43% of the gay population of black men, almost half of them. Now, when you look at the white men, they outnumber us here also. They outnumber us in the state, period. They only make up for 13% of the gay men. So they say, 13%. So when we're looking at these statistics, I want you to understand that these statistics are from the gay black man that is the down low man, which is something that altogether was new to me up until, it was some years ago, but I thought it was something that just came out of nowhere. But I'm not going to get ahead of myself. I'm going to go back to that. But it's not talking about the down low man who was also sleeping with sisters. Understand that in Fulton County, it says that Fulton County and DeKalb has the highest rate of AIDS in the state. Fulton County and DeKalb County. So when you're looking at Atlanta, when you're claiming Atlanta, what is it that you're claiming? I know for myself, I'm not proud to say that that's what's going on here in Atlanta, but what I can say is that I'm an Israelite and I know who I am, and I'm in the I.S.U.P.K, under Commanding General Yahanna. I'm in the truth. I know where I'm from. I'm from Israel, from Jerusalem. Not here. This is not my home. This is not my resting place. This is a place that we are brought to for our disobedience. This is a place that we are here because of the curses that you'll find in Deuteronomy. That's why we're here. So we've come here and we've gotten comfortable in this prison. We've gotten comfortable in this bondage. And by taking on the ways of our oppressor, what have we done? We've taken on homosexuality. And look at our people who are absolutely destroyed for it. Look at these men that are, these down low men, and how finally that's starting to come out more. Because it used to be something that was just kept on the low. Matter of fact, give me, Yahweh, give me Luke 23, 2 to 3. The book of Luke, chapter 23, verses 2 to 3. There's one popular person that I'm sure you all know. I'll speak on in a second, but if you could, pull that Luke for me, Bob Kashai.
Book of Luke, chapter 23, verse 2. And they began to accuse him, saying, we found this fellow perverting the nation and forbidding to give tribute to Caesar, saying that he himself is Christ a king.
Hold on, Slaki, did I say 22?
You said 23?
Let me make sure that I got the right one here, Slaki, just a second. I'm sure that I do. Okay, and give me verse 3.
Verse 3. And Pilate asked him, saying, art thou the king of the Jews? And he answered him and said, thou sayest it.
Give me verse 2 one more time out.
Luke 23 and verse 2. And they began to accuse him, saying, we found this fellow perverting the nation.
Stop right there.
To give
Stop right there.
to Caesar, saying that he himself is Christ a king.
Now, I'm saying this man perverting the nation. Now, of course, this right here, when you're looking at that, understanding what's been done, understanding that, things that are done in the dark, they will eventually come to light. So when we look at certain things, when we look at like the situation with these men who are these down low men, what they were doing, they would have their orgies or what have you. They would get HIV, and then for HIV or AIDS, go back to their wives and give it to them. This right here is why that ended up being exposed, because of what they were doing. Go ahead.
What you could have brought out is so good. I was watching a documentary about this young lady that was from Ohio, and how she came down to Atlanta, to go to college, and she met her husband and all those things down here in Atlanta at Black College. And
go ahead.
His connection.
I'm not sure. Salakia, are you there?
going there to backwards and then going back home and telling the story of how Atlanta is. A lot of times, those people that tell that story are the ones that made Atlanta the way it is.
Right. Right. People who do go back and tell those stories, they're reminiscing. They know the things that they were doing, especially the ones that were hiding it. That's exactly what was going on. And this right here, like I said, this is nothing new. It was hidden so well, but we're going to understand that the Black Lives Matter movement, as I continue to go through this, is something that's been here. It just had a different name. We're going to understand that these down low men is something that's been here. And I'm assuming, it had a different name. Now they come out with it, they call it down low, and it's like, really, you should just say, you're gay. Don't call it down low, you're gay. And what it is you're then also destroying our sisters by taking that stuff back to them. So when we look at that, and look at how much the AIDS has ravaged our people here in Atlanta by them calling it, or comparing it to a third world country, you have to understand that when you look at what's been done to the sisters, it's no wonder a lot of them think the way that they think when it comes to Atlanta. But what I'm going to do is read to you some statistics that are also describing what has happened to the sisters. It says, according to the most recent census data, black people account for 35% of the population of Atlanta. It says here, yet in 2017, this is 2017, it's 2022 now. It says 70% of people living with HIV in Atlanta were black. So 35% of the population of Atlanta is black. But 70% of the people living with HIV in Atlanta were also black. But you're claiming Atlanta. Forever, I love Atlanta. Really? Is that what it is? It says further, the rate of black women in Atlanta living with diagnosed HIV is 15 times that of white women. 15 times. So understand this, men. When you are out there making whores of the daughters of Zion, which you are not to do,
Right.
you are out there actually potentially stepping into a pool of HIV, AIDS, is what you're potentially doing. Because while you are out there doing that, and the women are out there being loose and giving it to anyone, that's 70% of blacks in Atlanta with HIV. There's a high percentage, a high chance that you have dealt with one of them. Think about that. These down low men going back to their wives or going back to their, in the world, going back to their girlfriends, so to speak. Once they then step out on them with another brother, then boom, you spread it. That gives you an understanding that there should be a structure that we should have. That's why we were given the law, statutes, and commandments. That's why understanding that. Go ahead, Op.
Shalom, Yahweh, Shalom, checking in.
Shalom, how about you? What's going on, Dr. Twab?
Nothing like I want to walk the lock if I may. I want to see can we use the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, verse 13, read that we can talk about.
Go ahead.
Right now.
Go ahead.
About the law, statutes, commandments.
Mm-hmm.
This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, verse 13. Consider the work of God, for who can make that straight which he hath made crooked? Meaning, considering the work of God, the work of God was gave us the law, that commandment. He gave us all I do and all I don't. For all I do, he told us what our rewards would be, and we do what he told us to do. And for all I don't, he told us all the punishments that he would give us for going against him doing the stuff that he said not to do. But for all these homosexuals and, these pedophiles and stuff, especially in Atlanta, they feel like they can make what he said crooked, going against him, breaking these laws, statutes, commandments, being crooked. They believe they can overpower the Most High and make what they say straight, and make what he said don't do straight. Like that's okay to do. It's a lot.
I mean, you're right. You can use it in that sense because what do your Christian pastors do? They go against the laws of God. They try to make straight what the Most High has made crooked. But if we want to look at that, also looking at our oppressor, we try to make him straight, and the Most High made him crooked. So think about that. Just think about the play off of words. Thinking about an old class that was taught here in Atlanta by Captain Zariak, making Atlanta straight again. That's what needs to be done. Because when I look at the I.S.U.P.K. and I think about how we go out there every single weekend to teach to our people, it brings me back to people claiming Atlanta and not understanding that they're claiming a place that is filthy of homosexuality. But it makes me think to myself about how we go out there and we teach the people. We explain to them that the ways that they are living is contrary to what the scripture says. So I want people to understand you can't spell gay without GA. Understand that. You cannot spell gay without GA, but the I.S.U.P.K. will continue to go out in the streets and teach the truth until there's no more gay in GA.
Right.
I dropped some bars on y'all for a second.
That's fine.
Understand that. Shalom on Christ, Adawan.
Hey, Shalom Christ, praise God. I hear you dropping these bombs on Georgia. Goddamn right. I was just checking in.
Absolutely, Adawan. The water, sir. The water, sir. But yes, like I said, it's our job to go out here and teach these men how to be men. We want them to come into the I.S.U.P.K. so they can be trained up to be warriors, not to be effeminate, not to be sodomites. But Atlanta It's Sodomite Central. You can't go anywhere without seeing one of these weak, switching, prancing, supposed to be men walking through Atlanta. And to be honest with you, it's something that makes me sick every single time I see it. Because our people are destroyed, because they think they were born that way. But the scripture lets it be known that Most High said, I made man upright. So when I'm looking at you, don't come with that excuse. Don't say, well, I was born this way. No, you were probably molested.
Right.
You were probably raped. There's some sort of sexual trauma that may have happened to you to cause you to be this way. You've heard General Muhammad speak on it many times. If there weren't for some sort of sexual trauma that has happened, you wouldn't have strippers. You wouldn't have porn stars. You wouldn't have homosexuality out here as you see it. So what you have to ask yourself once again, what is the appeal? Go ahead, Anwar.
I was saying Salaki, and that's why the fruit of the city. Everybody come out here. They want to be on their left side, have a good time as far as like sexual pleasure or whatever. When you come to a city like that, then it's gonna be running rapid with that homosexuality demon. That's what come out of here when everybody's coming out here to visit for whatever for them type parties that be going on.
That's right.
The fruit of that is gonna be Sodom and little slick Sodom and Gomorrah.
Right. You're right. That's exactly what it is.
That's the fruit.
The fruit that they're getting is exactly what they want, and they are going to die from it. So as I continue and come into my topic, how Atlanta became the black gay Mecca, and going back to some of those nicknames, we'll go down to as I said, being the black gay Mecca. I want you to give me, on the phone, give me Leviticus 18-22. Now understand, when I bring these scriptures out, these scriptures aren't for Christians. We want you to listen, but you're not going to understand because you don't accept it. You find ways to sidestep the scriptures. Your Christian pastor would tell you that the law is done away with, but the scripture let us know that it's not done away with. So if the law was done away with, then it would be okay for you to be a homosexual. But that's not the case. So if you would, give me Leviticus 18-22, Bob Kashah. The book of Leviticus, chapter 18, verse 22.
Book of Leviticus, chapter 18, verse 22. Thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind, it is abomination.
I mean, it's simple. It's simple. Thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind. That is extremely simple. Now, you would think that being here in the South, the Bible Belt, which is a joke, that you wouldn't see these things, since it's so heavy within the Bible. It's supposed to be here in the South. But actually, it's the exact opposite. The South is running rampant with homosexuality. And let us not even get into going south to Florida. Now, once again, Florida still isn't touching Atlanta, but it's everywhere, and they're free with it. So when we're talking about this Bible Belt and what's going on here in the South, don't be fooled by that. Don't be fooled by the Southern hospitality, because let me tell you something, it's not all that. Atlanta is not all that. And a lot of people might get upset when I'm saying this, but I'll say that about every single state in this country. It's not all that. America's nothing. This Babylon is going to be destroyed. Yahweh shot for that. I could care less about where you're from. I want to know where you're going. I want to know if you want to be in this truth or not. That's what I'm concerned with. The only reason why I should know where you're from is if I have to come pick you up so I can bring you to the school. Outside of that, it's pointless. So as I continue on how Atlanta became the black gay Mecca, giving you a little bit of background on my understanding, I thought that the gay community here in Atlanta just sprang up overnight, basically, because of course I didn't deal with anyone that was gay, so it wasn't anything that I really paid any attention to. Although I was running the streets, my mind wasn't on anything like that. I would see certain things, but just kept it moving. But as time went on, and I continued to intermingle and meet more people, in Atlanta, I realized that, especially amongst our oppressor, Esau, gay is just a part of life for them. It's just what they do. It's a, how do I put it? It's just a part of their life. It's natural for them. They can look like a cowboy, be mean and rugged and beard and all that type of stuff, and you would think nothing of it. And he's as queer as a $3 bill, as they say. But when it comes to us, we got to be real flamboyant. When it comes to black men, we have to be extra out there. Wearing the weaves, the lace fronts, the whole 9 yards, we got to do it all. They want to look better than the woman. They want to be better than the woman. And the thing that you have to understand, especially when it comes to, go ahead, Op.
My daughter was, they so heavy that you bring out right there, you know what I'm saying? Brotherhood class, we always talk about, you know what I'm saying? You supposed to love your brother, you know what I'm saying? If you love God, you gotta love your brother. You can't love your brother if you're homosexual.
Damn right.
You can't love your sister if you're homosexual. Homosexuality is an act of violence, man to man, woman to woman. That's violence. That's why a lot of the homosexuals end up in jail because of their violent acts towards one another. After they done, you know what I'm saying, did whatever nasty that they did, they ready to fight each other, physically fight each other. You know what I'm saying? So everything that they do is all the way against God. It's no brotherhood in it, ain't no keeping the law in it. They just live in their own blood.
Right. And you're right, that's a violent act. That's a violent act, and I dare to even imagine the process of it. Go ahead.
If I may, real quick, it's literally asphalt.
You are correct, sir. That's exactly what it is. It's literally assault. It's assault. Go ahead.
No homo.
Absolutely. Pause. Absolutely. Let us be extremely careful, because I don't want anyone who is watching this class to get the wrong impression, and understand that we are very serious with what we're talking about, but it is disgusting. If you have been with a woman, the thought of a man being a man should make you want to vomit. Now, if you are outside of the 12 tribes of Israel, I could care less what you do. You can have all the boy loving, butt loving that you want to have. It's my people that this is for. And understand that they have to come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments before they are destroyed. Because that is what's happening. They're being destroyed. Give me Leviticus 20 and 13. About the shot. The book of Leviticus 20 and 13. Just to let you know that this sin it's not going to go unpunished. It's not going to go unpunished. There's a punishment for this. Go ahead and read that. Leviticus 20 and 13, Baba Kashar.
The book of Leviticus chapter 20 verse 13. If a man also lie with mankind, that he lies with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination, they shall surely be put to death, their blood shall be upon them.
I mean, there you have it. They will be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. Understand, the act in itself, it's an abomination. We are to be fruitful and multiply. We can't do that with two men. You can't do that with two women. This right here is very basic. What I'm bringing out to you is not profound, but the things that I'm saying when it comes to our people and how they act in this, it can be heavy because we know that it's a learned condition. Our people don't want to believe or accept that it's learned, but that's what it is. The things that I've seen the oppressor men do just to be plain, I say to myself, wow, brothers don't operate like that. That's gay. We don't do that. It's something that they do just to play. It's something that we've learned from them. The only way that we can come back into this truth and understand our culture of who we are is by coming back to these laws, statutes, and commandments. Your heritage, your culture is not homosexuality. I mean, unless you are Egyptian, unless you are Esau, that's what you do. But as far as we're concerned, no, that's not how we operate. So now understanding that the abomination that Chocolate City is, because that's another name for Atlanta, Chocolate City, which can give you a whole other thought process of why it's called Chocolate City, other than just being black. Understand that this didn't just happen. Our beloved Black Hollywood has a long history of sodomite sex amongst men. So what I'm going to do is go into this article to give us an understanding of how Atlanta became the Black Gay Mecca. Bear with me just 1 second here. The name of the article is 50 Years of Atlanta Pride. Now, of course, when I'm talking about Atlanta Pride, you know what I'm discussing. You know what I'm talking about when I say Atlanta Pride. Because we have a Pride Festival here every year. We don't know what day that is. I could care less what day that is. But understanding it's here in Atlanta, and they're proud of it. So I'm going to read you some of this article, a good bit of this article actually. It says here, our city's LGBTQIA history is nuanced and vast, and too complex to be contained in a single story. While this article provides an overview of more than half a century of activism in our city, it is by no means exhaustive. To learn more about ATL's risk-taking change makers in historic moments beyond the Pride Parade, we encourage you to explore Atlanta Lesbian and Gay History, the Georgia LGBTQ Archives Project, and Touching Up Our Roots. These are different groups that have been created in Atlanta, and they've been here for a long time. To let you know that homosexuality is more so, it was like it was underground. And they were coming out from, so to speak, they were coming out from underground and mingling with the people as these groups continue to form and they start to gain more notoriety, more power. So they had more strength. They had more pride in themselves to go ahead and come out. They were proud to be gay. So as we continue to read this here in Atlanta, it says, while we can be together this year, Atlanta History Center looks forward to celebrating with our community at 10th and Peachtree next October, Party on Pride. Now, if you know anything about Atlanta, there's a place that I'm going to call Target Zero. And as we get to it, you're going to understand why I call it Target Zero. It's a place where I pray that when the missiles strike, they hit there first. And I'm talking about blow it, slap up. It says here, for half a century, Atlanta Pride has provided a platform from which the city's LGBTQIA citizens can voice their opinions and celebrate the community. Though it's taken new forms over the years, Pride's mission has remained the same: to advance unity and visibility amongst Atlanta's LGBTQIA community. This year is no different. Atlanta Pride is once again seeking to amplify the messages of our city's LGBT community, making history by going virtual. What they have done, if you paid attention to a class that I taught in the past, the gay community is very patient, but they are very powerful. What they have done is, they started a long time ago, and we'll go back to 1969, but they started a long time ago with their movements, and they continue to be persistent. They continue to move and shift throughout the city, putting people in place, putting people in government, putting people in schools, putting people in certain situations that will at some point benefit them. They were strategic in how they moved. Unfortunately, when it comes to Israel, when it comes to us, I'm going to stick with blacks here in Atlanta, we don't move like that for our people. We move like that for ourselves. We're individuals. We don't believe in looking into things for our people. Now in the school we do, I'll bend over backwards for every one of my brothers to make sure that if an opportunity arises, and if I can do anything to help it happen, I'm going to. But in the world, they don't. They don't stick together like that. But in the gay community, they look out for each other. Now, if you are black and you're gay, you're still just another nigga to them, but you're a gay nigga. So they still will kind of look out for you, especially if you're a coon gay nigga, which that combination right there in itself is, I can't even speak on that. I don't even have to think about that. But at the end of the day, I'm going to continue as I read this article. It says, pride was born of protest. Last year marked the 50th anniversary of the Stonewall uprisings, which sparked national media attention for America's LGBT community rights movement in New York. The protest in New York on June 28th, 1969 proved to be the catalyst for communities across the country, inspiring protest, mobilization, and change. In Atlanta, the Lonesome Cowboy raids of August 1969 sparked similar outrage from the LGBTQIA community across the city. The Lonesome Cowboy raids. Now understand now, there have been all types of homosexual activity here in Atlanta. Mind you, everyone wants to claim the A. They want to claim the A. Once this class is over, we'll see about that. As I continue to read here, it says here, in Atlanta, the Lonesome Doves Cowboy raid of August 1969 sparked similar outrage from the LGBT community across the city. That year, national tensions were high from the Vietnam anti-war movement and from the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King, as well as Atlanta's central role in the civil rights movement. Within that environment, the city's LGBTQIA organizers saw an opportunity for visibility and change. Mind you now, I'm talking about 1969. You didn't start hearing about the alphabet people here, I'm going to say the last, 10 years or so? But they were here back as far as 1969. We're talking about here, it says here, half a century. So we're talking about 50 years ago. They've been lurking around the entire time, deceiving people, but they've been putting things in place. It says here, as it often does, the present echoes of the past. The militant actions of Atlanta's police in August 1969 galvanized the city's movement and led to the foundation of the Georgia Gay Liberation Front. Now I'm going to stop right there. The Georgia Gay Liberation Front. And it was sparked from police brutality in 1969. If we're understanding where I'm going with this, you have what you call Black Lives Matter. The Black Lives Matter movement, we know, is actually has nothing to do with blacks. The Black Lives Matter movement is a gay organization founded by 3 lesbian women. So when I go back and I read this, hear this clearly. This was in Atlanta in 1969. It says here, 1 second. Okay, as it often does, the present echoes of the past, the militant actions of Atlanta's police in August of 1969 galvanized the city's movement and led to the foundation of the Georgia Gay Liberation Front, Atlanta's first gay activist group to gain political traction. That was in 1969. It was after an incident of police brutality in 1969 by Atlanta police officers. Now, you have what you call the Black Lives Matter movement. The Black Lives Matter movement has been here. If you understand what I'm saying, the Black Lives Matter movement has been here. It didn't just start. These are things that have been in place, and they just changed the name of it. The oppressor already knew what he was doing. It had nothing to do with them. They wanted to gain more control by infiltrating blacks and bringing them into this, teaching them that lifestyle, showing them that there's nothing wrong with it, and by showing them that there's power in numbers, by showing that there's power in being gay. Because what they've done is, through all these years, they have infiltrated, they have organized, and look at what they do. You can't even say you can't say anything about the homosexual community if you are worried about losing something. Now, of course, us here in the I.S.U.P.K, we're not worried about that. Cancel culture doesn't apply to us, but it applies to everyone else because they're afraid to speak the truth. I'll continue reading. It says here, Atlanta's first gay activist group to gain political traction. They were responsible for the organization of the city's first Pride demonstration, a small tabling event in Piedmont Park where a handful of activists distributed leaflets, held in 1970. And then it says in June 2020, National Pride Month. So, as I continue to read, I want you to understand that through their perseverance of their abominable acts, they have created something that is now, it would seem, almost impenetrable. Salakia, pause. In the sense that they put things in place to stop our people from advancing. And when I say stop our people from advancing, meaning you can't, a community can't grow of blacks and Hispanics if you are homosexual. And because we join to our oppressor, like Yahanna brought out in Proverbs 3:31, envy not thy oppressor, is a lot of the reason why we are in the position that we're in. So when you stop and you look at Atlanta, look at its community and how they operate when it comes to homosexuality, what chance do blacks have? Because if you look at the so-called gatekeepers, if you look at our so-called people that are in power, look at Reverend Al Sharpton, look at the deceased Bishop Eddie Long, these black pastors, these people who are prominent amongst the black community. Look at, as I said, Tyler Perry. Look at these people. They all in some way have intertwined themselves in the gay community by giving them support. Go ahead, Art.
If I may, I got a couple of precepts I would like to bring out to what you just said.
Absolutely.
So like y'all want, it's a heavy thing that you talking about right now, and most time Christ for the I.S.U.P.K.
Damn
You know
right.
what I'm saying? I got a precept in Matthew that says, let me grab it right quick. It's talking about how much work it is out here and how much of the harvest it is to gather up.
Right.
But the workers are not, we don't have that many workers, you know what I'm saying? And the reason we ain't got that many workers is because our people, they just want to live in their lust. Matthew chapter 9, verse 37 says, then said he unto his disciples, the harvest truly is plenteous, but the laborers are few. And the reason the laborers are few is because they all are effeminate, you know what I'm saying? They all want to be like Medea, you know what I'm saying? They want to be, whatever, big mama house, they want to be out there, you know what I'm saying? They don't want to be with the house, you know what I'm saying? And the other scripture I had is 1 Corinthians 6:9, because the homosexuals like to say that they going into the kingdom of heaven, that they gonna live with Jesus and all that. They love to say that to you. But 1 Corinthians 6:9 say, know ye not that the unrighteousness. So
Go ahead.
it says, know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of God. But be not deceived, neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor effeminate, nor abusers of themselves with mankind. You know, it ain't those type of people ain't gonna inherit the kingdom. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. And that's actually a scripture that I was going to bring out, but since you brought that out, this is true. Not to harp on the Christian church, because we know that the Christian church is filled with homosexuals, but yeah, you have these gay men who are in the church who think, oh, that the Lord loves them and that all is well. When they come into the church, there's no change. You can be gay, just pay your tithes. You can be gay, just come and direct our choir. Think about that. Atlanta is a hotbed for, that's something else that I know. A lot of people will move to Atlanta. So you have something to say?
So like I said, I was just gonna add on that, I know they've even went as far as to create like their own Bible called the Queen James Bible, where
Right.
they actually, so they definitely don't even wanna see the truth in them.
Right. What the sister just said is heavy. You know, they have a Bible called the Queen James Bible. Think about that. The Queen James Bible. Absolutely disgusting. I mean, the thought process and the arrogance in their sin, it's beyond the regular thought process because of how foul they are. If you've ever dealt with someone, go ahead.
That is crazy that that they got something out there like that. You know what I'm saying? It's I got a precept if I may.
Go ahead.
Exodus chapter 20 verse 5. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them nor serve them, for I the Lord thy God am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. And if you're a homosexual, you hate God because that's an abomination unto me.
That's right. How can you say? Matter of fact, I know you know this because the scriptures say, how do we know that you love the Most High? Anyone answer that for me? Go ahead. Oh, go ahead, sis.
So like I said, I was just gonna say by following the law, statute, and commandments.
Absolutely. Now give me a precept for that, Yahweh die. And that's correct, sis. Give me a precept for that, Yahweh die. Salakia.
Salakia, the one that would be 1 John chapter 4 and verse 20.
Go ahead, read that.
This is the book of 1 John chapter 4 and verse 20. If a man say, I love God, and hated his brother, he is a liar. For he that loveth not his brother whom he hath seen, how can he love God whom he hath not seen? Salakia.
This is true. But there's also a precept that talks about if you follow the laws, statutes, and commandments, that's how we know that you love him, because if you aren't doing that, you can't say that you love the Lord. The homosexuals, any of them, they'll tell you, oh, I love him. I love God. At my slavery, I work with two women. Hold on, just 1 second. At my slavery, I work with two women who they live an alternative lifestyle, we'll say that. And they're gay. And they'll be praying over their food and things like that. And it's when I see it, it's almost comical. Because I know who they're praying to. I used to think to myself, well, the Lord isn't hearing their prayer, but their Lord is. Caesar Borgia, that's who they're praying to. The demon that they pray to is hearing them. He's responding to them. So when I think about how destroyed the mind is when you are gay, it just lets me know how strong that demon is. Go ahead, Ak, what were you about to say?
The book of 1 John chapter 5 verse 2. By this we know that we love the children of God when we love God and keep his commandments.
There it is. There it is. That's what the sister also brought out. There it is, right there. You aren't keeping his commandments because the scripture clearly lets you know in Leviticus that if you're sleeping with a man, that's an abomination. If you're a man sleeping with a man, that's an abomination. But the scripture also lets us know that when the women is doing things that are unnatural, that's also an abomination. They've been given over to these vile affections. So let me go ahead and continue reading in this article because it's staying right on point with what we're discussing. Let's see here. National Pride Month. Pride rallies once again responded to police brutality. So they're talking about after 2020. Even though in person celebrations were canceled amidst the COVID-19, Most High in Christ, pandemic and ongoing Black Lives Matter movement. Hear me when I'm reading this article. You continue to hear the Black Lives Matter movement and these other black leaders when you're talking about the LGBTQ community. And you're going to hear more. It says throughout Atlanta, marches. Go ahead. Go ahead.
If I may, isn't the
Yes, they're 3 lesbian women. Yes, that's why we know that the Black Lives Matter movement has nothing to do with black men, because actually they hate men. How can you say Black Lives Matter, and we've said this, how can you say that Black Lives Matter when your founders are 3 gay women who obviously hate men? They don't even want to bring any men into this world. So the Black Lives Matter movement is actually Black Lives Don't Matter movement. But yes, there are 3 gay women. It says here, throughout Atlanta, marches honoring black, transgender, and non-binary people killed by police threaded the city. So understand, the Black Lives Matter movement has nothing to do with black men. But if they happen to be gay, if they happen to be transgender or non-binary, and the police do something to them, that's when there's an issue. If it's just a straight black man, no. Let's make a couple t-shirts, let's make some money, and keep it moving until the next one gets shot. But if it's one of them, oh, then there's an issue. But that doesn't happen like that to them too often. It says here, protesters carrying Black Trans Lives Matter. Black Trans Lives Matter signs joined the Georgia NAACP march culminating at the State House in June 15, 2020. Now, NAACP, what is that? The National Association for the Advancement of Colored People? How can our people advance? Think about that for a second. Go ahead.
If I may, I'm just sitting here listening to what you just said, and it's a heavy point. Black lives ain't mattered since 70 AD. Since the fall of Jerusalem. Matter of fact, you can go back farther than that. Black lives didn't matter when we started following all other gods except for doing what the Most High said before he kicked us out in 70 AD. Black lives stopped mattering a long time ago to black people, because if they did, if black lives mattered to black people in ancient times and today, we wouldn't even be in the situation we're in now. If blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans would not be in the position we're in, predicament we in, if our lives matter to us. You know what I'm saying? Because we got these leaders, these Pharisees, the Sadducees, the entertainers, and all these folks out here that want to say they our leaders. They doing everything under the sun. They got our people doing everything under the sun. We don't have no moral code. So everything that's being done is because we did it to ourselves. We hate ourselves. And that's why the scripture is so heavy and always repetitive on love your brother as yourself. If you love God, you got to love your brother. Wow.
That's right. You're damn right about that. You're damn right. And they're proving that they don't. And with that, with these black leaders that you're talking about, we'll go to scriptures that we pull all the time. If you would, give me Jeremiah 14:2. Talking about these black leaders. Jeremiah 14:2, Bob Kashad. You got that for me? Go ahead.
Jeremiah 14:2. Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. They are black unto the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem is gone up.
Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. These so-called people that we brought out are black leaders, which they are not leaders for blacks. If you're in the world, they're your leader. If you don't know this truth, they're your leader. But we know who our leader here is in I.S.U.P.K. Who can tell me who that leader is? Go ahead, sis.
So like you said, Commander General.
There we go. There we go. Go ahead on the phone.
I was going to say Commander General, and also I have a question.
Go ahead.
Could we use Exodus 23 and 2 for a precept for the Black Lives Movement and the women rights movement, all of them?
You said Exodus 23 and 4?
23 and 2, sloppy.
Go ahead, read it.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 23, verse 2. Thou shalt not follow a multitude to evil, neither shalt thou speak in a cause incline after many to rest judgment, meaning like, you know, don't judge us because this is the way we are. Don't judge us because we love each other and stuff like that, even though they know it's things like it.
Absolutely, you can use that. And that leads into one of the reasons why they call it pride. What you just said brings that out, because you have to ask yourself, why did they call the gay pride movement pride? Why isn't it just called the gay movement?
Well, not y'all.
Go ahead.
This is a heavy class that you got going right here. I just want to say that first. And then on top of that, they say pride, right?
Mm-hmm.
How you gonna be proud as a black man? You already know we getting killed at an enormous rate by our own people and by our oppressors as well. Why would you go and put your seed in a cesspool? When you do a homosexual act and you know, whatever, you leaving your seed in a cesspool. They're really hatred of your brothers, because you know what I'm saying, your seed makes other little black boys and black girls, you know what I'm saying? So you hate your seed if you just leaving them in a cesspool or filth and feces.
It's heavy. And it's heavy. And the reason why I say that is what you're bringing out in that cesspool, you're taking your seed and putting it in a place where death is. And when I say death, meaning the things that you discard from yourself come from that area. So when you go into a man's buttocks, I mean, come on. I mean, I just don't. You can't even you can't make sense of this. Go ahead.
The best way to put it, you trying to plant a vineyard in a wasteland.
There you go. You're dropping seeds on thorns and thistles. Go ahead.
It's like, you know, somebody gay, usually they're gonna hate heterosexual way because they, been compromised as a child a lot of times. Mm-hmm. So what happened? The women, she gonna hate men. The men hate a woman. You know what I mean? He'll never try it, and he fine with that for the rest of his life because as a little child, you know what I mean? They come just like you were saying earlier. When that demon put them on, they think about that moment, and their hatred for that opposite sex is raging.
Right, it is.
Or some kind of corruption that they're throwing ball. So that's when they've been turned over to vile affection.
That's right. They can't shake it. They can't shake that demon and get it off of them. So when you talk about that, when you're going back to the pride of the matter, of them being proud about what they do, one of the reasons why they have the name pride is it's all about being proud of who you are, no matter who you love. That is one of the reasons why they say they use that, because they want people to go out and be proud and not be ashamed of their sexual orientation. But it can't be, if you're so proud of it, then people should have their opinion again, or be able to speak against it if they don't like it, if you're proud of it like that. But it's not the case. Give me Proverbs 16 and 18. Bob Bashad, the book of Proverbs, chapter 16, verse 18.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 16, verse 18. Pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall.
I mean, there you have it. Pride goes before destruction. They will be destroyed. Look at Sodom and Gomorrah. Look at how prideful these men were. They said, we want the man. We don't want your daughters. We want to bust up those men back. Come on. You were so destroyed and hot in your lust that you want to rape men. We're reaching. Go ahead.
Not only just rape the men, you know what I'm saying? They so far gone in their lust that they want to they willing to do any and everything to get, they doing any and everything to get to it. They're like today in Atlanta, you know, like when you walk out the door of a class, like when you leave the school tonight, you can look in any direction and you're gonna see him. looking at you like he want to take you. He the booty bandit. He want to take you. Because that's how they get down. They don't care. It's all about their own list. They go into a reprobate mind.
That's exactly what they've done. That's exactly what they've done. And I'm going to continue reading this scripture. Not scripture, Salakia. This article. It says here, the Black Trans Lives Matter group signed. They had signs and they joined the Georgia NAACP march. Now, it says culminating at the State House in June 15, 2020. Marches honoring Tony McDade and Nina Pop superseded annual celebrations, and the pride was a riot, meaning they enjoyed it, and it became a popular refrain amongst demonstrators. In its 50th year, Atlanta Pride celebrated in October and remains one of the foremost gatherings of the LGBT community and activists in the country. We're talking about here in Atlanta. Once again, you're claiming Atlanta. As the city gathers, distantly and virtually, to once again chart its future, we invite you to examine Pride's past. When you look at how deeply embedded homosexuality is in the culture of Atlanta, you have to ask yourself, how many people are involved in this? And I'm talking about when it comes to blacks. I could care less about the oppressor, but when it comes to blacks and Hispanics, and especially, looking at blacks here, being Judah, of knowing what's happening here. Because what I've discovered is that these men, for some of them, it's almost as a matter of fact for them. Like, yeah, I do it. It is what it is. What did Tank say? I know you know what Tank said. Anybody on the phone or in the class? Go ahead.
You talking about Tank, the R&B something?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Is that what you talking about?
Indeed. Do you know what he said?
I hope you ain't gonna tell me this man no homosexual.
Well, what did he say? I'm gonna tell you what he said. Tank.
I don't know what he said. I just know he's not homosexual.
Tank basically said that, and paraphrasing, that it's not gay if you've only done it once. If you've only done it once, that's what he said. I guess he's saying, you can go ahead.
So not.
Yeah, that's your boy.
I just can't let them rap right there. What you just said. That man ain't just say that.
Oh, indeed.
He said it for real.
He said that in an interview. Indeed, he did.
Dude, and that goes back to the point that you were making earlier about the leadership. You know what I'm saying? Entertainers and the Christian pastors, the Muslim imams, and all these folks in our face every day, every Sunday, Saturday, wherever it is. And they preaching this Christianity doctrine on the world, you know what I'm saying? This all is God love everybody thing. And they push that.
Mm-hmm.
This is the product of what we get, you know what I'm saying? Tank come from that generation of going to church. He one of them church boy things. All along. They used to go to church singing. And they came out that church singing that music, you know what I'm saying? And lo and behold, that music, that seed that they put in their music is being shown, verbally, and you can see it with your eyes just by walking out the door, because a lot of the songs that they putting out, if you listen to it, they not talking about no woman. They don't be talking about women. They be talking about no little boys.
You're exactly right. They be on some slick stuff. So think about that. A lot of these. Go ahead, Al.
These so-called role models in our nation, Proverbs 17 and 15.
Mm-hmm.
If I may.
Absolutely.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 17, verse 15. He that justifieth the wicked, and he that condemneth the just, even they both are an abomination to the Lord. So like it.
And there you have it. We can almost sum it up in that. But we won't. We'll continue to go, because that's exactly what they justify what they do. They'll come up with the reasons for it. And you take someone like Tank, he's supposed to be this masculine, ladies' man type of brother. For him to say, you know, it's not gay if you've done it once or if you tried. What kind of, Salakia, what is that? What man says something like that? You're homosexual, that's who you are. Go ahead.
What you just brought out is so heavy, you know what I'm saying? And it made me think about this movie back in the day, the 90s. I forget the name of it, but once I tell you the scene, you're gonna know what I'm talking about. It's this drug dealer, and they in the inner city, and he's selling his drugs. You know what I'm saying? And this male crackhead walk up on him and said, "Man, let me get a hit, man. Let me get a hit." He said, "Where your money? I ain't got no money."
Oh Lord, I already know
you know, you remember that movie? He said, you know, I think no, Paul. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about?
I know the movie that you're talking about because it's
The drug,
Menace to Society. The one who wanted them cheeseburgers.
On the planet. You know what I'm saying? Because they do any and everything to fill their pockets. Whatever their lust is, they're gonna get them paid. They gonna do it. Right?
You're exactly right. You're exactly right, and it's absolutely disgusting. You got something, sis?
Nah.
Okay. Anybody on the phone got anything else?
I got something.
Oh, go ahead, Adawan. Hold on one second. Go ahead, Adawan.
I was gonna say, being born in Atlanta, coming up, Atlanta was a real prideful on the hetero side. Saying we from Atlanta, but as things started to change,
Right.
like you'll be so quick, like that pride that we had back in the day. Like, you from Atlanta, oh, y'all brothers from Atlanta gay, like
Right.
without even knowing you.
Right.
You be like, yeah, at least so it's like, so you got that stigma on things. You know, I think it's kind of got died down a little bit as far as they just putting that on every dude from Atlanta. But it came up with like some real stand-up guy thing to turn into some old straight Candyland sweet type of
That's
type
exactly.
of deal, and that's a great topic. Because what we proud of.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Go ahead, Art.
So like y'all don't want to go so simple with Officer Rock, y'all was just said, you know what I'm saying? And I know he come from the same generation I came from. And I know he know about that rapper named Kilo Ali. Kilo Ali made this song said, some of y'all niggas that lost y'all mind. And that's what the count of been along. A lot of them Negroes up there that lost their damn mind and went straight to the level with their homosexuality.
That's exactly what they've done. And go ahead, Officer Napash.
Oh yeah, so like with that part about the actual Atlanta part. See, the thing is that Atlanta has a lot of sub-cities and sub-towns. If you look on the Mark system map, all that part in the metro area, they're considered Atlanta, but you have like different sub-cities. It's like ask you where you from. Y'all from Atlanta, but what part? Guys be like, well, I come from Zone 3, oh, they're by Summer Hill. Oh, you're East Side, man, you from East Atlanta. East Atlanta. On the East Left side, okay, well, you got, like Mama saw something, you ask him where he from. He could say Atlanta too. Guess what? He'd be like, I'm a College Park. Okay, you're a nigga for squat. Hey, you a South Atlanta.
That's not Atlanta.
You at?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Some cities.
Right.
And I could say over in the east side over there, over in Decatur, I could say I'm from Redan. There's a Redan located in Decatur. It's just on sub-town within that metro area. Just like, you know what I'm saying, over the high side, on the west side, west Atlanta. So it's like got different sub-towns, all up in there. You just like a couple raffle past truck came from Atlanta, but you from Augusta. You from South Georgia. You always say I'm down in South Georgia, boy. You from South Georgia. Like the Migos, they could connect. That's like North Georgia, right outside the Atlanta city limits. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, what she's saying, like, it's just you saying, like, okay, yeah, I'm here from Kansas, like, which zone or which county. So it's kind of like the same thing, but you have, like, different, you know what I'm saying, counts and, you know what I'm saying, zones. We might have 2 counts within one state or with one part of the city. like you got to determine. It's determined like if you looking at metro Atlanta range, that could see Atlanta in the metro area. Outside of that, like what is 20, Augusta, Macon, Savannah. You know, you outside of the Atlanta metro area. You know.
You're right.
They would have got the beef thing. They would have got the beef controversy going on there. Rapper, you can say that because you get a lot of crap because people who ain't from Atlanta, they can say that. But when you ain't from Atlanta, then you from Detroit or you in Atlanta, you in Southern, you know, or you in Atlanta, you know, then you in Zone 3, or you know,
Salaki,
you in Atlanta.
Salaki, I feel you. I feel what you're saying. So let me ask you that before I continue. Let me ask you something. Napash, where are you from?
From Atlanta.
And where do you live?
Yeah, right now, I live in Atlanta.
That's not Atlanta. Which is exactly what she's saying. But to get back to what we talking about, I get what you're saying, but she's breaking things down, saying that if you weren't born in, or if you weren't a Grady baby, then you aren't Atlanta. Well, my whole point of this is while people are wanting to claim Atlanta, what is it that they're claiming? What's so important about claiming Atlanta? And what I've been talking about in the class is one of the things that Atlanta is known for is homosexuality. So as Officer Barakiala was bringing out earlier about, you know, when people ask where you're from, you know, you hesitate kind of to say, I'm Atlanta, because the first thing that come out of their mouth, oh, them niggas gay. Well, there are a lot of sisters who I've seen post here recently saying, whatever you do, sisters, don't go to Atlanta because all the men are gay. So you have to be careful what you associate yourself to. Now, if someone asks me, who do I run with? What do I work? You know, I work in the I.S.U.P.K. I run with warriors. And I can tell you right now, the only place where women can know 100% for certain that they are not going to be with a gay man or an effeminate man is if they come to the I.S.U.P.K. And you know what? The lack of response to that was not what I was looking for. Understand what I just said. For any woman that's here in Georgia or anywhere, if they come to Atlanta, the one place they can go to where they don't have to worry about whether the man is gay is in the I.S.U.P.K.
Right.
Here we go. Go ahead, Op. Absolutely.
The I.S.U.P.K, you know what I'm saying, is the only place where a black man can be a black man. You know what I'm saying? You can really be that dude if you want to, you know, that you know it's inside of you. You can be that in here without hesitation. So you're going to learn how to be that man. You know what I'm saying? Once you learn how to be that strong man, what black woman don't want a strong man? They act like they don't want that, but that's what they want. They want somebody that can, you know, handle their own and bring the people into the truth. There ain't no need to sit out here and play with it. The truth is, we're not supposed to be homosexual. Here in point blank.
That's
We're
right.
not supposed to be out here doing anything that the Mohawk said we ain't supposed to be doing. We supposed to be men and priests of the Mohawk. You know what I'm saying? I run the culture.
Indeed.
You know what I'm saying? And we like this life.
Indeed. And you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and tighten up on some of this and then close it down. But there's just something else I want to bring out here. In this article, as you've heard me say, Piedmont, when I told you that I was going to talk to you about a place that is ground zero, I'm talking about, at the corner of 10th and Piedmont. In Atlanta, that's where the Rainbow Square is. If any of you have been through that area, I, unfortunately, with my slavery, going to different locations, have to travel through that square. Once I pull up to it and I see that rainbow, it does something to me. And what's unfortunate is, understanding, we know what the rainbow represents. What the bow, it says bow in the Bible, what it represents. But the homosexual community has taken it and made it an abomination. So, understanding our black leaders, how we have none. Atlanta Mayor Kasim Reed was the one who announced that the city will be permanently painting the four-corner crosswalk, the rainbow crosswalk, to honor the Orlando LGBT community victims. I don't know if you remember, Salakia, there was a shooting at gay nightclub in Orlando. And I guess in honor of them, they decided we're going to make this right here in Atlanta, I guess a central station to where we put a crosswalk that is a rainbow. That area, they call it neighborhoods. In case you haven't ever heard that, they call them neighborhoods. Not a neighborhood, but a neighborhood. Go ahead.
Oh my God. In my mind, I keep hearing, them people knocking on the damn boat. I'm about, Lord, let me in. I can see the damn, the sulfur fire coming out the sky on Sodom and Gomorrah. I can hear the people dying. I can hear it. And as I'm listening to you tell me about this, I didn't know nothing about the case. Well, I ain't know nothing about that part. Now you just made my world up.
Indeed.
But as I hear it, you're like, do they really want God to kill them? You know what I'm saying? Because that's what the demon's job is you to get killed. You know what I'm saying? So they really playing with death doing it. You know what I'm saying? Wow.
You're exactly right, and that's what they want. And yeah, it's right there in Atlanta. You come up on it, and it's a sea of gay as far as you can see. But the four-corner crosswalk, it's a rainbow crosswalk in Atlanta. Matter of fact, they just had some people, they say that they vandalized it by driving through it and burning out in the middle of it, which I could care less, destroy it all. But yes, all it is to me, like I said, it's a target. It's a target. So when that first missile hits, it can land right there. Go ahead and blow it clean off the map. That's what needs to be done. Because you taken the Lord's promise not to destroy the world by water again and made it a target, made it an abomination. So when that fire hits, I hope that's where it hits, because you'll be begging for that water. And because I can't go through all of it, go ahead and give me Genesis 9, 13 to 17. Genesis chapter 9, verses 13 to 17. Because the rainbow is something that they use that represents who they are. If you see that rainbow, it's almost like when you look at a police car, and on that police car you see that blue stripe in between the black. That lets you know, oh, that's the blue line. That's the Blue Lives people. That's a police, or they know someone that's a police officer. So now when you see a rainbow sticker, you know that they're either in that community or they support that community. Understand that. So go ahead and read that for me. Genesis chapter 9, verse 13 to 17.
So like you want 13 and 17 or 13 through 17?
13 through 17. Baba Kasha.
The book of Genesis chapter 9, verse 13. I do set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be for a token of a covenant between me and the earth. Verse 17.
No, go ahead and read verse 14.
Oh, verse 14. And it shall come to pass, when I bring a cloud over the earth, that the bow shall be seen in the cloud. Verse 15. And I will remember my covenant which is between me and you, and every living creature of all flesh, and the waters shall no more become a flood to destroy all flesh. Verse 16. And the bow shall be in the cloud, and I will look upon it, that I may remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is upon the earth. Verse 17. And God said unto Noah, this is the token of the covenant which I have established between me and all flesh that is upon the earth.
Now think about that. He said all flesh that is upon the earth, meaning he wasn't just saying that to Israel. He said to all flesh that is upon the earth, all the living creatures. I'm not going to destroy you by water. Here's my promise to you. So when you see that, that's what my promise is to you. But here's what's so cold. Here's what's so cold about it. My promise is, no, I'm not going to destroy you by water, but we know what we're going to be destroyed by this time. That fire is going to destroy them this time. That's what's going to happen this time. And they're going to be begging for that water. So you taking that rainbow and you made it something abominable. And that's why I can't wait for the Most High to send Yahushua back here so we can go ahead and get this thing over with. Because, go ahead.
What you just said is so heavy, and it also goes to show that homosexuality means that you're selfish. And you would think what God said he was going to use to remind him not to kill us with the water no more. Just a reminder, I'm not going to kill you with the water. You're going to take that and make it whatever you want to do with homosexuality. And God's supposed to just sit back and just let that slide, you know what I'm saying? That's selfish. Because you're not thinking about the other people that's out here. God just not going to visit the wicked. He visit all of us. We all like it at the same time. So when them things hit, they hit everybody. It ain't just somebody, everybody get hit. They're like in the flood. Watch it.
Absolutely. And with that, I'm going to say this. If you are watching this class online, you've been in the class. For those of us that's in the class, we already know what the deal is. But for those of you who are watching this class online, understand, when you're claiming a place, you better know what it is that you're claiming. Because you might not want, when you find out what it is at the root of it, you might not want that. So once again, if you aren't claiming these laws, statutes, and commandments, if you aren't claiming the love of your people, if you aren't claiming your heritage and your culture by being an Israelite, by being the true Jews, by being Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, if that's not what you're claiming, then guess what? You may as well go ahead and, no, I'm not going to tell you to go on to the other side, but you're dead already. Come back into your culture. Come back into this truth and follow these laws, statutes, and commandments. Come into the I.S.U.P.K under Commander General Yahanna. With that, it's my time. I'm going to hand it over to powerful priest and prophet, Barak Yahweh.
Listen to class. I'm also Barak Yahweh. Do the I.S.U.P.K security announcements. The I.S.U.P.K started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. A rule for a new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to share themselves with the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment, comes out of Numbers 18:21, Malachi 3:8-10, means 10th in the Hebrew, Ma'ashura pronounced. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or teacher. Also a priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you will like. Our upcoming holy convocations is Passover. It's going to be in Cocoa Beach. I.S.U.P.K is having it Friday, April 15th. Any brothers that want to join the school, want to become a trooper, start wearing all black. That includes boots, shirts, pants, headbands, scarves. Get with one of the officers to find out our camp times and location. And with that, we'll get a salute to the teacher. All right, man, Israel, Majum, salute, Majum Shabbat, Majum, Barak, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shabbat.
Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shabbat.
Hands down. That, sisters, my, we get a salute to the women. Any sisters online? All right, men of Israel, Ahmad Shabbat, Ahmad, Barak, Yahweh Shema, Alatham, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh Shema, Alatham, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai.
Hands down, class dismissed.